It can feel like you're never satisfied with what you have, always looking towards something new, even if you have what you thought would make you happy. But it's actually the journey and not the achievement itself that is fulfilling. The excitement is in the anticipation and in the pursuit, and that's why we are always seeking the next new thing. Welcome everyone, my name is Tobias Philipp and the topic of this episode is focus on the process, not the results. A few years ago, I began taking my sports much more seriously, setting specific goals that I wanted to achieve. I aimed to run a marathon and complete a half Ironman triathlon. And although I have always been active, I hadn't trained this intensely since I stopped playing football. Setting these goals and thinking about the achievements gave me very much motivation, not just in sports but in every part of my life. I grew, I made significant changes, and I committed fully because I genuinely wanted to reach these goals. With little knowledge and little experience, I just started training, learning, and buying all the gear that I thought I needed. And at that time, I was a bit overweight and I hadn't prioritized my health. But going through this process, starting from scratch, trying new things, getting fitter, losing weight, and seeing real progress was very rewarding and very satisfying. And yes, there were tough times and I didn't always feel motivated, but after 2.5 years without taking a break, I achieved both of my goals, and doing this improved every aspect of my life. In those moments and immediately after reaching my goals, it felt amazing, and thinking back now, I still feel proud. But after achieving those goals, they are now just memories and no one besides me even thinks about them, which is of course perfectly normal. But what I want to convey is that while I'm proud of these accomplishments, achieving them essentially brought me back to where I first started. And yes, I learned many valuable lessons, but it's not nearly as motivating now as it was in the beginning. And that's why I now need new goals to experience those emotions again. And that's also why so many people are always striving for more. Because once you've experienced that sense of purpose, you don't want to lose it. And that has taught me a very powerful lesson because I now understand why people live this way. You cannot go out attacking life, doing something big and then sit back and wait for things to happen. For some people that's just not enough and they need something to keep going. And don't get me wrong, if this isn't for you, that's perfectly fine. But some of us just need to keep pushing boundaries, whether it's climbing Mount Everest or jumping out of airplanes. And whatever goal you set, you cannot fully control the outcome. But what you can control is your mindset and your work ethic. You choose to show up every day, giving your all. And that's just a process. You try, you fail, you try again. When you're unmotivated, you still push through. And when things go wrong, then you just keep going. And if you don't reach your goal, but you can look yourself in the mirror and honestly say that you did everything in your power, then you will still feel satisfied and you will still feel proud of yourself. And even though we don't control the outcome, putting in the work helps to reduce anxiety. And in my experience, anxiety often only comes from a lack of preparation. But if you've done all you can, then you will either succeed or you will know that it just wasn't meant to be. And in that case, there was nothing more that you could have done. So maybe it's just not the right time, or maybe the value lies in the lessons you've learned. So reaching the summit isn't nearly as rewarding as climbing the mountain, even though it might seem that way. But once you start your journey, then you will soon realize that there's always another mountain to climb, and that's just how it's supposed to be. So keep setting new goals and keep working towards them, and don't let that cycle frustrate you, but embrace it. And for me, that's just the best way for me to stay energized and to stay motivated. And that's at least how I look at it. Let me know in the comments about your opinion. Share this episode with others who you think may find it useful, and thank you very much for listening.